Hi guys, today we're going to talk about how to structure a PM interview. There are 7 to 8 logical steps that one could follow depending upon a situation to situation, which will help you go a long way in cracking a PM interview. So let's talk about step number 1. Listen. Believe me, we Indians are not a good listeners. In between, cutting people in general isn't treated or considered to be a good practice. But when it comes to PM, I can't lay more emphasis on the fact that if you are sort of cutting people in between, you will never land up in a good job, or even if you landed up in one, you may not be able to succeed that well. So, as a product manager, it is very important for you to sort of listen to people. Unless and until an interviewer has sort of completed, never jump to answers. Hear him. Even if you want, you can take notes when he's speaking so that once he's sort of completed, you're able to absorb and ask relevant questions. And that's the point number two. Do ask questions. You're not a waiter, you're a product manager. You have every right in the world to sort of ask specific questions and then answer your question basis those constraints or sort of points that the interviewer has helped you in. Take an example. Let's say the interviewer sort of asks me that, how would you build a movie going app for me? Now, I have the right in the world to ask him a question that, okay, what are we trying to achieve out of this app? We already have Book My Show, we have PVR, there are several other sort of apps, be it YouTube, which Daily Motion, etc., which sort of support, movies and stuff. Why would I want to do this? Or the second question could be that, okay, if you want me to build this, are we trying to achieve a specific objective out of it? Do you already have a sort of a USP which sets us apart from the others, or you would want me to figure that out for myself? Right. So coming back to the point, so idea is to ask questions and refine that question to an extent which sort of helps you build your answer. Third thing, pause. There is no better thing in the world than to pause at times, because pausing helps you sort of give a logical construct to everything in life. We Indians have a very high tendency again to not stop. We try to give every single answer the moment it is being sort of floated to us, and that's not a good practice. In any big interview, be it Google, Amazon, or any small interview, also, let's say there's a startup, as a product manager, the expectation out of you is to sort of pause, think, create a logical construct, and then say something, right? Else it might just turn illogical. So, even in an interview, we might think that, if you're sort of pausing, it might look bad that we don't know the answer. But trust me, no one does. If a question is being floated to you, they are not expecting you to answer that at that very moment. A 10-second, 20-second, 30 seconds, or I would say, why not a minute, is just a fair enough approach to go about answering that question. So once you have sort of done that, the fourth important point is to follow a approach, right? You may want to sort of logically create a tree in your mind that, okay, to approach this problem, I have these four approaches in my mind, but I personally think because of these following reasons, I would want to focus on approach A, B, or C, or D. Obviously, because of the lack of time, you don't want to emphasize on everything. You may want to just lay it out that these could be the four possible ways we could solve this problem, but I want to stick to problem A because I think it is more valid. You can give justifications to it. So having an approach is a must, right? At the same time, when you have sort of chosen an approach, now don't try to toggle between the other approaches, because you had a reason, before you have gone about that approach. Now toggling between different approaches seems that you don't have a good clarity on the problem that you're solving. So it's very important, if you are sticking to one, stick to one. Fifth important point is answering a problem. Now it's your time, right? Express as much as you can. Bring in analogies, try to give good examples, benchmark it against the industry players, and try to give every single detail about your idea or the solution that you're giving against a problem. This is your time, guys, as I said, right? So you may want to use a whiteboard, you may want to, use pen and paper, you want to, articulate, you want to use hand gestures, anything is just okay. The idea is to explain yourself well and communicate it to the interviewer. Sixth important point, pivoting. Sometimes it is not that whatever we have thought is absolutely on track, right? But then adding and adding stuff to it before you have heard to someone who is sort of asking you that question, that whether we are on the right path or not, may not just go well as far as your interview is concerned, at least. So it is just okay that once you have sort of brought a logical construct to the question that was asked, validate it. Ask the interview that, would you be okay if I sort of go ahead with this approach, or you have something that you want me to add to it, or you didn't like it, or you're not agreeing, maybe I can explain you more, or maybe we should evaluate other options. Now, having this sort of an approach tells that you are flexible, right? It's not that while a product manager has to be firm when something has been logged, but when you're sort of brainstorming about something, you should be open to ideas and feedback as well. So this is a very important aspect, that even in an interview, it is just okay that you sort of ask questions or validate your hypothesis, so that you are in sync with the interviewer. Else, you understand, right? It's going to be a 20 to 30 minute round of an interview, and if you sort of keep on speaking, at the end of the day, an interviewer might not just bother to correct you, right? He may just have thought it in your mind that you have missed it. So it is very important. It is sort of your job to ask those questions at relevant point of times, so that if there is something, some sort of a pivoting which is required, it happens at the right time, so that you don't lose it out on your chance. Seventh thing, once once we sort of have a sync up with the interviewer that okay, this is the approach we're going to follow. Now it is very important to have a roadmap to it. Understand, as a product manager, when you are sort of building something new, or when you're following a certain methodology, it is not always that you will be able to deliver all of it in the first go, and hence the concept of MVP comes into scene. Many of you would have heard that MVP is minimum viable product, right? So, when you're sort of giving this answer, it is very important that you phase it out. What are the things that you would build it in phase one, and then follow up with a roadmap that these are the things that you would sort of delivered in a staggered way. Giving this roadmap sort of helps interviewer understand that you have a vision for this product. It's not that you are just being a takeover to that product, and once you're sort of done with this thing, you're just done with it, right? You have a long-term vision as far as this product is concerned, which is not very limited to 1 or 2 months. It has a long way, and you're really looking to sort of scale this product and make it a big time success. Last and most important thing is sort of summarize your interview, or summarize your answer probably. So at the end, it is very important that you tell the interviewer that this is how you have gone about it. Draw some logical inferences out of it. Maybe it is very good to sort of conclude it on some sort of numbers, right? That as an idea, you want to capture this market size, right? Or your market size could be somewhere between these numbers in this much of time. That again helps the interviewer to understand that you are not just focused on building things, but you're also focusing on scaling them up. So this product is not as good as it is going to be something that you can fiddle with your fingers, but it is something you are seeing more of a business opportunity as a revenue generator for the company. So guys, if you sort of follow these things,